Okay, so good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, so you're welcome for today's session. All right. So okay, so I initially started by checking up messages. Okay, so last class we talked about these things here, and of course today we'll be just dwelling on super globals and form handling. All right. So today we are going to shift a little bit from having to test our code on on the terminal into testing it on the browser. All right. So today will be like much of browser interaction. Well, that's before we dive deeper into looking at the PHP super globals. Okay. So I'll walk you through how to display a basic PHP page, of which I expect you should know that by now. At least how to boot up a PHP server and so on. Okay. All right. So great. So and I'll start by showing you this. Start by showing you how a PHP server looks like. Okay. And I want to show. Okay, hold on. So I should just show this to everyone. So basically today we'll just be talking about this. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, so today we'll just be talking about this thing here. Introduction to super globals. Somebody sent a message, so I have to check this out. Yeah, Sadiq. Yeah, the sessions were recorded, so you should check them out on YouTube. Okay, I expect you should have even checked them out before coming to the class today. Okay. So okay. So for last week, we talked about different set of things. We talked about global, all right? And yeah, we did talk about global, and I showed you how to handle local variable and global variable, where we use this guy, okay, to handle local number, okay? So where you have to declare local number somewhere and then use it elsewhere, okay? So today I will not be going, okay, so this is an example of almost a spot global, okay? But this is used for globals, all right? So I'll clean it off. And in fact, I'll clean just literally everything off. Or, okay, I'll just clean some very part of it off. Then we'll start by using a fresh template in doing whatever we have to be doing today. Okay, so this is good. And because I'm using VS Code, so automatically should generate and automatically generate a template, okay? An HTML template, okay? So I should have something like, maybe something like, who knows? Something like, okay. So echo page title, all right? So maybe I should declare page title here. Okay. session. It's just something like this. Okay. All right. So this should work very fine, and should also like probably an H1, something like this. Or should have something like. Okay, so the next thing we should be able to do most times in PHP, so is to at least boot up a server that is going to serve our page. So that we should have something like we check out something like this. So we should be able to have something like this. Okay, probably maybe 8,000 or yeah 8,000. If I run this now, so I'll get site can be reached. All right, that is because our server is not up yet. Okay. So to boot up your server, you should have to, start the terminal at your folder, your project folder, and you should be able to execute this PHP dash localhost 8,000. So you can see PHP development what's it called? Server started at whatever. Okay. So if I come to this place, you see this. So PHP session. This is automatic. This is something you should know. So in PHP, automatically, what happens is that it understands that index is always the entry point. Okay, index is always the entry point. So this is done by Apache. So each time you boot up a server, Apache already thinks that an index folder, all right, is what's it called? It's the entry point of the app. Okay, if I should have another page like some probably another file, welcome.php. So we use this layer on here. So I have this up. Okay, and yeah. All right. Okay. So so we have this. So if we come to the browser, all right. So if we come to the browser now, since you just get out now. Okay, if you come to the browser, you refresh, you automatically should know that that doesn't come in. So I should have to come to something like welcome dot. Okay, so you can see run browser and then welcome page. Okay, if I change this guy to So you should be able to see this. Okay, so welcome page. All right. So with that being said, so if you look at my terminal here, so this is the request. It is processing. So at each instance I visited, I opened the server. All right. So next was for me to visit. So using a get, each request we talked about, or you must have been talked about in your introduction, that browsers does or do send a request. So if you open, for example, when you call on this endpoint, first thing you do, you are sending a get request. Okay, you are sending a get request, get whatever, and then so in my terminal. So in my terminal, this is the last request I made to this server, okay? And this is pretty much understandable. So the next, okay, it tries to find whatever, it could not find it, tries to find whatever, like wire stroke, whatever, native body and whatever. So it could not find it. So forget about this. So this is from my cage, okay? So some stuff I've been caged and then trying to send some requests. So I can now track requests, all right? That is being sent to my server. Somebody sent a message. All right, so if you missed anything, so for putting up a server, all right, like I had told you earlier, so this is my folder, okay? Check out. This is for Ubon Abasi. For Ubon Abasi and some other persons that did not follow. Yeah, Ubon Abasi. So this is my folder. This is the folder I have all, my files, okay? Known as my project, all right? So this is my project folder. So what I do, I open the terminal at this folder, okay? So, and I do what? I type PHP, I put up the server, and to put up PHP server, you do PHP-s, then server address, but you have to first, and then you append it. It can be just any random number here, and it should work. But in this case, I choose 8,000 as my port address, okay? So once I'm done with this, just come to the browser, and then I put the address here, all right? And I visit, and you see this, all right? So now if you want to, if you have different pages, for example, how PHP interprets this thing. So if you have different pages in it, all right, so you should be able to navigate to them. For example, maybe if I have had page, whatever, yeah, whatever, like PHP, or maybe you can see not found, or not found, okay? Even if I remove this guy, so it shouldn't be still found. Okay, so because it's on the same browser, all right? So I didn't specify. So whatever, so not found, okay? All right, so whichever page I have to specify, it has to be there, okay? So we talk about something once we get down to that place. So remember, I had set up a page title. So first of all, it says PHP session. Then on the welcome page, it has a different, what's it called? You can see this now, different page title. So I set it up like this, okay? And it shows here, So for one of the requests that was sent, that was trying to figure out something, okay, it's not here. I think it was still on the cage stuff. Okay. So with that being said, at least you should understand how to put up a simple PHP server, all right? So with the help of, okay. So with the aim of showcasing your project to the web, okay? All right. So in the next, let me ask first. Is there any question? Okay. Andy,
yeah,
what's your question?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
You used port 8,000, right? Can we use any other ports?
Yes, you can use any port if you like using.
Okay. So, but
or you want me to use a
no,
port?
I'm going to try. Yeah, fine. But the question now is, why is the default port 8,000 always? I know there's 8080, there's 5,000, there's 5500, but why is it always 8,000?
It's just like tracking. when you used to be trekking from, for example, from where you stay to your workplace. So why do you trek from where you stay to your workplace?
Well, because probably there's no vehicle available, or probably I'm like the various reasons why I trek.
So just like there's various reasons why we use 8,000. You can use literally anything. It's just like it's a free word, so you can use just literally everything. So you choose 8,000 because that is what you can remember at every time, and that is what's mostly used. Okay.
All right, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, so we proceed. Oh, Wendy, your hand is up.
No, that was a mistake.
Okay, so we proceed. So today basically we'll be talking about just super globals, and PHP has bunch of super globals. I mean, bunch of super. Who's this? Okay, Ubawabasi. So you're welcome, Ubawabasi. So PHP has bunch of super globals. Okay, I will share them up. I'll share them up with you, and we'll talk about them just one after the other, like bit by bit, till we finally finish them all up. Okay, so there is of course we already talked about the globals, but I'll remove the globals from now. So we are not really going to talk about the globals from now. Okay, so we just talk about the super globals. Okay, so for the super globals we have several, and we have requests, we have gets, we have posts, we have files, we have env, we have cookies, we have session, and yeah, so we have those major ones. Okay, so for now we'll start with the server. All right, so the server is a super global that contains a lot of information. For example, it contains the server port. All right, so it contains the server ports. It also contains the remote address. It contains the server name, host, HTTP host, whatever HTTP user agents. That's the agent that is visiting your platform. Okay, it could be Chrome browser, for example. It could be just anything. Okay, so for example, so this is how to refer to most of these things I'm talking about. So, and we start by using self, because we use self a lot. So you can refer to the self. So it simply means the page you are actually visiting at the moment. Okay. All right. So I'll just do. So I'll just do PHP self. I'll just do this. So you should be able to see. So this shouldn't be here anyway. So for now, we'll keep working on here. So we'll come down to that place. So you can see index.php. Okay, so if I should do it in the welcome, so you should see something like welcome.php. Okay. Yeah, so you should see welcome.php. So self just simply tells you the current script that is executing. Okay. And yeah. So there is we have some like HTTP user agents. Okay, where is this? So on welcome. So you can see I'm using Mozilla, whatever, Intel, Mozilla 5.0, Intel, Mac, whatever, on Chrome, whatever that is. So yeah, and I can also check out HTTP host. Okay. So you can see this is the host here, local host. So assuming I have Google, okay, this, all right. So the host is now what Google.com. Remember that, in your background. So while you try to do a lot of things, so what happens is that okay, so yeah, oh, something just sneaked into my code and I need to rectify that. Yeah, I said it. Okay, so yeah, so request method, you can see it's on a post now. All right, so if I do this, you can see now request method is what is get. Okay, so remember when I did the check here, so if request method equals what get, so you should only print this out only when it is get. But if it changes to post or to whatever it it might be, so don't, only when it is what. So in this case, I had before created a post form where we had here, okay, where we had here, all right. So and I call the actions, which is this script here, action.php, all right. So and I did what I did, pass in some stuff here, okay, and I just do the submit, but I can pass an additional query, okay. Maybe let's say input type text of name. There's a queue like we have already, okay. So this is fine, all right. Or maybe placeholder. Yeah, query string. All right, so we should refresh that one if you have here. Okay, so I put my whatever that, and I get what only request is post. But if I change the condition to just anything, okay, it should display very fine. All right, so on my welcome dot whatever. So if I remove this check here, sorry, so that this is not going to work. So if I remove this check here, so everything should work very fine now. So if I continue, you can see whatever, but the request method, remember it is post now. All right, so if I change it now to, then I set queue using post like I did. Okay, you can see this. So it's changed. The request method now changes. Get back to here on, okay, I copy the same thing. All right, and I put this, so I get the same result. I do this, and I said Q or Q equals whatever, and I hit my enter. I still get the same result, but then what changes? The request method changes. Okay, so now I come down here again and then activate my conditions back. So and it works just as I had predicted. So it's on get now. All right, so I copy the same stuff and I go back to my previous stuff. So I paste it and I don't get the result again. So you can see now that easily I can control my flow using just different type of things. Okay. So we are really going to continue. We've talked about requests. Okay. When I use this guy and we've talked about get, okay, get only we should only get. Then files is for file and we have post. I'll show you. So if another way to handle that is to use this guy. Okay. Instead of this condition like it is now. Remember we're talking about super globals in PHP today. So if I change this guy to underscore get, okay, so this should work very fine. Just very fine, very fine. Very fine. But then, like I said, you know, it's going to act like, you know, it was before. You can see. So Q is not set. Q is not set. But then, if I come down to this place like I did before, so everything should work very fine. You can see now request button. But then you can set this thing from here where we created the form. Okay. So maybe I can just pass Q. Yeah, everything should work very fine. Yeah, so I refresh and I type whatever I type, and yeah, you see, whatever has been set. Okay. So sorry. Okay, so everything should work just as planned now. Okay, you see this and this now are the same, but it's now on a post. Okay, so but if I remove this guy now, possibly method should change. Q is not set. Then if I go back to my code and I remove that thing I did set before, okay, so I go back to that form again, I refresh. So you can see Q is not set because it's not what? It's not, you know, post is, it's just meant to be handling post request, okay? While get is just meant to be, get super global is meant to be handling just everything get. So you can still do the same for post, okay? For post request, Q should be able, if I set, okay? So this should just work fine, but this will not work again using this thing. Q is not set. Why is Q not set? Because this is, remember, each time you are doing a thing on your browser like this, on this your URL tab, okay, you are simply through, you know, sending a get request to the browser. Remember when I showed you this thing, okay? You are sending a get request, but you know, each time you are doing things using normal form. So in some cases, some normal form can be get, can be, you know, post, but then understand that post, you know, has to do with some delicate, you understand, very, very delicate information you don't want to show to the user, or you don't want to, you know, pass on the request, all right, on the request URL, okay? It is somewhere encapsulated in a way in HTML, all right? So are not be, you know, reviewed to attackers during, or, you know, send time and so on, okay? It is encapsulated specially, all right? So if I probably impute this thing, so you can see now that it's set, and you know, it can only show once the request is what is post, not on get. Like I did have this, okay, on Q, whatever I call that time. So you can see it is not set because it's not on a post, okay? So then there is files. Files has to do with let me just treat files a bit. So I'll stop just in files. Probably you can go and Google and then check about all this too. All right, but the most used is this ones. So files and so files. Yes, Mandy, what's your question?
Please, for the sake of us that are newbies, can you at least explain the underscore env?
Even if I explain now, really, okay, all right, okay. Just for the purpose of explanation, all right,
All
just for
right.
the purpose of explanation, I'll do that. So, but for now,
Okay.
let's files. So files should allow you to just I can't I shouldn't should I post this? No, let me not post this. So files should allow you to, use stuff like this. Hmm. Let me see how this will look like anyway. Okay. So I have a CSV file in there. So Q is not set. Okay. But then this should not work. But this should work on the server side. So where you are trying to handle files, okay? So there's some other things we'll treat about, okay? There's some other thing we'll treat about, all right? And basically, I think from there, and that's where this thing will really start to really make a lot of sense, okay? So where you do file handling, I don't know. I think we should possibly I don't think I made, let me check out, let me probably look at this, your curriculum, and see if there was, okay. So, there is no, I didn't make a place for us to handle file, okay? So probably, I think I should make a special class, okay, for just file handling alone, all right? Just file handling, and then we will talk about just file handling alone. And I explain on how we can move file and how we can upload files and so on. Okay, so I think that should even that should make a lot of sense, and that should be, because even how would that even look like? How would that even look like? I'm thinking. Yeah, where we do that, so that should be fine. So okay, now for this screen on disappear. Hold on. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So for this thing, for ENV, all right. So ENV in most cases, let me show you. I don't want to get, if I get into deep into that, so it will be a lot of confusion and a lot of problems. So I'll just, once we get there, so we'll be able to talk about it on an open. So look at this file. All right. Oh. Okay. Okay, so look at this file. So in most cases, this is an ENV file, all right? So in most cases, what the ENV does, okay, with some kind of algorithm and so on, you store an encrypted file, all right, using the ENV global variable, okay, in PHP. Like I said, I don't want to go if I go into that, so I'll be contradicting the concept of why we are here in this class. Okay, so probably maybe once you get down here, so we'll talk about that. I think I'll modify that curriculum a little bit. So because this will be a lot of things. I think that's what. So I'll modify it to put file upload using PHP and environment handling using PHP. Okay. So that is for this. So we have other ones, cookies and session. Of course, you know, each super global so contains, it's an array. Each super global in PHP is simply an array, okay? It's just simply an array with some key values that you set by yourself. A lot of people, for example, for session, a lot of people do like to, let's say, probably for login. So let's just try something. Let's just do something. And I'm going to create a new page. Login.php. Okay. So where we have H1. So we have or let's just message. So message. Okay, so yeah, and then so assuming we have a, what is it called? We have a difference page that's, so this one will be from next class, so we will be able to do this thing fully. So but we'll start from now. So let's assume, okay, we have an admin already, okay, in a database, okay, and admins with some also kind of names, and we want to test them. So easier way to do that is using the session, okay. So in most cases, this is how to start a session. So yeah, so next thing you should do is check. So if uh, so how do I handle this guy? So no, let me not return him. So let me just send a message. So like I did, message post is not set. Okay. So if I have this guy, so probably if I have something like user equals probably if post so So to change the condition, so I'll just likely do email. Okay, so to make sure that email is at all times set. Okay, so you can't do anything without setting, and then password. Okay. Post password. So in this case, still the same thing. Equals user. So yeah. Or I think I did use secret. So user password. Okay, yeah, password, not secret. Yeah. So no, let me not use that. Okay, so else. So else, what should you do? And hold on, excuse me. Yeah, so sorry, I'm back. I needed to. Oh, or possibly. Okay, possibly we think about how to handle this better. So okay, so this is what we do. So when excuse you, once I'm done, then you can ask a question. So yeah, else so and so let's set the fare. Oh. Okay, Mandy, oh yeah, shoot your shots.
Okay. I just observed that is your user array not supposed to be associative? Could that be the reason?
I don't get it.
Like in the array, you're saying name is equal. It's not supposed to be an associative array.
That's a mistake. So I'm still watching it. Oh. So this is in some way. Okay. Oh. Oh, okay. Okay, so can you all still see my screen? Everyone can still see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Oh. So possibly I didn't spell that correctly. So I have to spell it correctly. Okay, so what happened there is that it is incorrect, so we are returned back. We are returned back. So yeah. Okay, so fine. A lot of things are just coming to my head. So now, what did you say is this thing again? So email@email.com. All right. So we have a secret. Yeah, you can see congrats, you're logged in. Okay, so yeah, so this works very perfectly. If we enter other things else, so we are not allowed into that page. Okay, so for example, maybe probably so you can see you are just immediately returned back. Okay, but that is not necessarily what we are to do with sometimes what's it called with the sessions. All right, so I want to be able to do something. So I want to be able to do something. Yeah, so I want to be able to do something. I want to be able to do something else, right? So you just better duplicate some part of this code to the login page or to the index page, okay? So I just say here, session starts, all right? So that's because if I don't do that, I won't be able to have access to the session super global, okay? So I should be able to set here server error. So possibly each of the whatever I'm setting, possibly for now, let me just use string. So error is just going to be an empty string, okay? So in this case, so each time I come here, error. Not correct. Possibly, let me just duplicate this here, or maybe something. Let's just duplicate it here. So that is fine. So next time, if I come to this place and maybe I do something like so I do something like another P, okay. And how do I do this thing? Okay, if let me just do a P tag and then equals. So yeah, I just setting. So server error. All right, so this is because I'm using string. So I'll just add there, and I'll just add style. So style should be, what do you call it again? Color, yeah. Color, what's this? And then so I should have this. Okay. something is supposed to show here, but it's not. It's just redirecting me back. I said server error. So show this there, show this there. If I say server underscore error, so yeah, so this is something very useful. You should always do. Provide oh, sorry. This is something very useful you should do. So user credentials not correct. Okay, so this is very simple. How do we get that to work? So, and yeah, I think what's it again? Mail@email.com. Still same user credentials not correct because password is what secret. And oh, so yeah, so that's fine. I mean, so we are logged in. Okay, so if you try to input some other thing, so you are returned back. Now there is a technique a lot of time, that is often used. I'm trying my best not to talk about these things, just like I did this thing. I was trying my best not to talk about it or not to even include it in many cases. All right. But then, does anyone has question? So let's start from there. Mandy, do you have okay, Mandy, shoot.
Yeah, you made okay. Did you only started session in the login form page?
Yes.
But you still made use of the session in the other page. Are you not started there too as well?
No, not like you have to always be in the secure side, always and always.
Okay. All right.
Is there any question?
But sorry, how is it that
No, not really.
Okay.
I'll have to go through the tutorial again because so it's sticky.
Okay.
Well, I'm following.
So go ahead, Mandy.
Okay, but I'm like, how is it that the session is not started in the index page or the welcome page, but yet you can still use it from there?
Session is not started from there's a session already there. Can you see this session?
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, awesome. Okay. That's why I didn't see. All right. So this HTTP underscore referral refers you back to the current page. That's the page where the action was from, right?
Yeah, I did talk about the PHP server listing now. I think I talk about
because I tried printing out the variables associated with that array. I didn't see the HTTP underscore referral there.
You tried to do what?
As in, while you were teaching us the server, the server global variable, the properties of the server global variable, I printed out. I tried printing it out on my screen, but I didn't see the HTTP underscore referral as part of the properties.
So what did you have? How many do you have? And that's even nice. So I think we should even go print that out and see what we have. Hold on. So let me see what we have in my end. But it's there, even if it's not showing on your screen. So it's there. So I'll just
something like
random. Okay. Nice. So we have document root. We have remote address, and we have this guy. We should have this is what happened. So this is why you're not getting one. What do you say?
I said you're showing your own. I've seen it in your own.
Yeah, you can see now.
Yes.
So yeah, it comes with everything. Everything you need.
But mine is not here.
Yours is not there. Go to another page. For example, now. So this is what you do. Go from another page, like create an hyperlink. You understand, that links you to another page. All right.
Okay.
Or you can just do the same. I have the same. What's it called? I have the same folder structure I have in mind. So one index, then the other one should be any kind of page. You understand? So
okay,
that links you from one page to the other. Then see if you there. So next page, so die and dump this server variable. So you see if you have or if it will still be there or not.
Okay, all right.
So
thank you.
Okay, so that reminds me. So we've been using Pardom at some point, so I remember very well. And I don't think we had used that, but if we have not, so this is very useful in printing out and in knowing the current state of probably maybe a variable or just anything you feel like dumping and seeing what is inside the object and so on or on the way. Okay, so this is very useful in this case. So so I forgot to have talked about all these different things. Of course, it's not really necessary, but you understand them just by their name, their naming. Okay, then I have used this. Okay, but then you can now dump every other one that I've talked about. So to see how we go. Okay, I want to see what are inside. All right, and so okay, briefly before we close for today, I would just likely talk about a little bit of security. I'm not going to go deep into it. You notice, and I noticed I did something. So this thing, in some ways, so you notice that I can literally pass some things into my what is it called, into my super globals. All right. So and of course, so here is one of the mistakes I make, which in some cases I shouldn't allow the user to do it. All right. So okay, probably something like this. So this is this in some cases. Okay. Wow, interesting. So you can see the problem I just faced right now. So it's pretty much understandable. So you have to, in most cases, you know, to think about your implementation. So session. Okay, so this is it. And this is good in some cases. So this is very, very good. Very, very good. So if I have this guy now, so I think I should refresh. Everything should. Okay, so everything should work very perfect. All right, I hit it again. Oh, so I hit it, it was successful. Then I add this guy, and you can see, and I refresh, it works very fine now. Yeah. So you see now, it works very fine. Very fine. But if I do not remove it, if I don't unset this thing, so here's what's going to likely always happen. So yeah, so sorry about that. So I impute. All right. So in my next, I refresh and it still keeps telling me that user credentials not correct when I have not even done anything. Okay. So in this case, like I said, I have to unset it. So okay. Oh. So it works perfect now. All right. So now if I try to include correct credentials and I refresh, okay, you see it's no more there. So if I submit again, it's still there and it's still there. So until I refresh, everything goes forward because this is a very fresh page. Okay. So this is now very much more understandable. And of course, you should notice the drawback of using session and why you need to unset your session variable, except where needed. Okay, so yeah, I forgot to mention free. What's it called? Super globals are like free roaming chicken. What I mean, free roaming chicken that you have to literally control how they move. You have to manually control how they move. When chickens are roaming around, you understand? So you literally have to control them, you understand, to be able to. But if you leave them without controlling them, they can just go anywhere they feel like going. And this is just an example. So assuming that I put this up and up on production, okay, the user does this, and probably maybe there's some more advanced stuff that I needed to have done. And each time you come down, it's telling me user, even when it is correct, it goes out somewhere. Maybe I come back again to the index page, okay, and I come back again to the index page. Then I try to set something else, even when it's not. It is still telling me that it is incorrect, okay? It keeps telling me that it is incorrect all the time, all right? So you need to be able to always unset and set them, all right? Unset and set them. For example, this thing now, okay? Where do I have the login? If I don't unset this thing, if I go ahead to reuse this thing in some way, you understand, there is always bound to be an there's always bound to be an override. So what is advisable that I do here, I should be able to, once I'm done, once it is logged in, so I do what? I unset post. Okay. So then if I intend to use the session in future to do some other thing, maybe probably I should say user. So this is what I should do. So user. All right. So this is very common. Okay. And although if you want to specifically unset this guy, so you can just do this. So let's just not just unset all the whole session anyway. So let's just use unset that error. Okay. So remember, so this is even a much more better approach. Okay. So when you're building sometimes very bigger application, you should know that in many cases, what is bound to happen, there's likely going to be a lot of redirecting, okay, or you call it redirection or whatever, okay. So there is mostly going to be a lot of that. So you have to make sure that all your super globals are checked and monitored at all time, okay. All right. So and in this case, I can just go ahead to print the user details with just minimal is okay. I can use session. I can use it anywhere I feel like using it. Okay, but maybe I can create another page. Maybe probably say dashboard. All right, and yeah, probably say dashboard. So probably say dashboard. Okay, and here is should I call it it's an easier way into even designing or developing a common app. Okay, I should have something like another dashboard.php. Okay. So you notice why I like to put my PHP up here. So we'll talk about this later on. Okay, we'll talk about this later on. All right. Well, session. All right. So this is for username. Yeah. Okay. So probably so I should put this up. So some other time maybe we'll talk about separation of concern where we have to do a lot of things separately. Okay. Device sets, okay, and not I sets, okay. Okay, so this is very easy. And so if I visit this now, if I log in and visit this, all right, it should work very fine. Okay, so this works very fine now. All right, so and if I come down to this place, where is my login again? And I have to convert this. All right, so I don't know. Welcome. So index will just have to be indexed. Okay. So I copy this guy out. So this is it. So later on, we'll talk about why I use that. Okay, so yeah, everything should work very fine now. So we can remove this guy now. So we should now have lesser code, okay? Okay, so header should now be on so we have location. To be dashboard.php. So later on, we will talk about how to, then dynamically make these things work fine. So, okay. So I have to set my error variables, okay? So we had my error variable set like this before. So I'll just copy this guy now. So if you don't have anything to do with session here, so I'll just come to my login page and I paste this guy, all right? So on set, all right, so this should work very fine now. So yeah, there's some lot of messed up stuff. So I'll come to that later on. So Mandy, that was why you were not getting your own. That was why you were not getting. Oh, okay, almost time. That was why you're not getting. So you know that the referrer is always not set by default, all right? Mandy, what are you doing on your screen? Oh, referrer. Please refer yourself. Okay, so oh. Okay, so everything should work very perfectly.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mandy.
Yeah. I tried it the way you said, and I saw that it was there. Is when there's a post or a get request that referral shows. It doesn't show by default.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it. Thank you.
Mm. Okay, so yeah, everything should be fine now. So yeah, you can see I'm redirected to the dashboard now. Okay. So if at some point, then so just for double check. Okay, so I think we try to, you can see referral not set, and yeah, so everything should work very fine now. You can see that we cannot visit login dashboard except we do what we are now on dashboard. So welcome admin test. So except we are logged in, we cannot always visit this guy. Okay, so if I want to refresh now, so which means I am still logged in. Okay, I'm still logged in here. So, but if I go back to the login route, which in some ways, you know, and in some ways, what's it called? Some ways refreshes the user. Okay, if we come to index, of course, if we come to index and still go to dashboard, because we are still logged in, so we should be able to, everything should be able to work. Okay, dashboard, we are still on logged in as admin test. Of course, we don't have any other user. But if I come to login, which on set user, if I try to go back to dashboard again, it won't work. Okay, so it directs me back to what login. Okay, and remember while I used what's it called, HTML, whatever it's called again. Okay. Somebody sending a message. Okay. All right. So I think at this point, so I'll just round up here. So yeah. So if any other thing, like from next class, so we'll continue from here and just maybe probably do just a retouch. Okay. And what we've done today, and then probably to just finish up. Is there any question? So I just answer. And then, yeah, Mendy, what's your question?
My question is, you on this page where you are right now, in your redirect route, you use server referrer, not server HTTP underscore referrer.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
Yeah. I thought they were different. Okay.
They were not different. They're the same thing. Just
Yeah.
trying to be fast.
All right.
Any other question or any other observation?
No other question. Maybe tomorrow when you come, we'll talk more about unsetting cookies. Sorry, unsetting sessions.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
and
also cookies too, because they seem to like do the same thing.
yeah, probably we'll just brush up cookies. Maybe probably in next class or thereabout.
All right, no problem. And which one is more preferential, whether cookies or session?
Depends on what you're trying to do. So probably we'll just maybe in the next class we'll just look at implementation concepts a bit. You understand on why, when, and why you should use cookies.
Okay. All right. Thanks for today.
Okay. Okay. Any question?
Not really. I would have to go through this class again before our next class. So let the concepts for now. I'll have to go through it again.
Okay, so thank you guys for coming around and see you on Thursday. Okay, 11 p.m. Sorry, 11 a.m. Okay. All right. So
is it Thursday or tomorrow? Okay, Thursday. Yeah. Is it Thursday or tomorrow?
Thursday.
Okay. All right. Take care. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.